episode of my Dynasty Fantasy Football YouTube. Today, I have my 5 takeaway series looking at the upcoming NFL draft. As always, make sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Let's go. So, my first takeaway, and these are going to be kind of more light-toned stuff. Omarion Hampton is linked to the Broncos consistently, a lot of the time. He's a heavy favorite to go there in the first round. It does kind of remind me a lot of Najee Harris in 2021 being mocked to the Steelers in every mock draft, and then that actually happening. Hampton's around minus 1,500 to be a first-round pick. He's going to be a first-round pick. It's a question of where. I've seen at some books, the Broncos pick at 20. The later than 19.5 is a favorite. Another book had it at 20.5. The earlier than 20.5 is a big favorite. It doesn't take much dot connecting to figure out that the Broncos are a heavy favorite to take Omarion Hampton. Now, in 12 games last year, he was great. 281 carries, 1660 yards, 15 touchdowns, 5.9 yards a carry, and 38 catches, 373 yards, and 2 touchdowns. A full 3-down workhorse. He's going to eviscerate, wipe out the other running backs in his NFL backfield. He's going to be a workhorse. Now, what do you do? Not much, really. I mean, this isn't one of the ones where I'm really looking to, like, make a move. You know, nobody's buying Audric Estime. Nobody's buying Jaleel McLaughlin. Nobody's buying these players, right? Like last year, Estime, a lot of fumbles, 76 carries, 310 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.1 yards carry, 5 catches. Just wasn't involved in the passing game. McLaughlin, 113 carries, 496 yards, touchdown, 4.4 yards carry, 25 catches, 76 yards, terrible efficiency through the air, and 2 touchdowns. Neither player was all that great. McLaughlin would be the one, I think, who would be the backup. But if Hampton went down, they'd recreate a split backfield with Estime and McLaughlin. I'm not interested in these players. There's nothing to do but, you know, prepare for Omarion Hampton possibly to be a Bronco on Thursday night, where I'll be here live covering it on the channel. Now, the next takeaway from the process of the NFL draft is that I think that the Cowboys are trending toward getting Dak Prescott a wide receiver in round 1 and probably the first wide receiver off the board. I still hear, despite all the times it's been debunked, people say that the Cowboys are going to trade Dak Prescott and draft Shedeur Sanders. This still is coming up on the internet. These people, whoever they are, they have no common sense and a detachment from reality, are completely insane. Prescott has $231 million left guaranteed on his contract. If he were traded, he'd cost $138 million in dead cap. There's no way out of that or changing that. Not to mention that Prescott has a no-trade clause. There's 0 chance that Dak Prescott is traded. So you can eliminate that idea immediately. Now, to me, what has changed is I think the first wide receiver taken goes to the Cowboys at 12. The teams in front of the Cowboys have had their odds of taking a wide receiver decline in recent weeks. I mean, the Panthers were like plus 300 a month ago. Now they're like plus 800 to take a wide receiver. The 8th overall pick plus like 800 to be a wide receiver. It seems very unlikely. It seems like that's going to be a defensive player. The Saints at 9 seem like it's going to be quarterback or defensive player. So the Cowboys, I do think, are going to take the first wide receiver. Now, I hope they make the right choice and take Teteroa McMillan and not Matthew Golden, who sucks. I mean, he doesn't suck, but Matthew Golden is not a first-round wide receiver prospect. Period. End of story. He's not. The production's not there. Now, either McMillan or Golden would be an upgrade at wide receiver 2 for the Cowboys, though, because they have no wide receiver 2. So I think that Dak Prescott has become overhated and might actually be a good buy over the next day. He's still just 32 years old this summer, not ancient. I think we can pencil in 3-4 more years of Prescott. The contract is ironclad. They cannot get out of it until really 2028. I'm open to buying him now before the weapons get upgraded, and they will be upgraded. It's just a question of how they will be upgraded. But I'm perfectly comfortable buying Dak Prescott in the Superflex leagues at what he costs, which is not what it should be. Now, number 3, and this one I think is the biggest intrigue that we're going to be waiting for as I do my live stream on Thursday. Nobody really knows, myself included, where Shedeur Sanders, Jaxson Dart, and Jalen Milroe will land in the NFL draft. Nobody knows. To me, these quarterbacks have a wide range of outcomes. They do. I'm not including Tyler Shuck, who is horrible. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. I don't think Tyler Shuck should be drafted at all, personally, in this analysis. But the reason these betting odds are all over the place is I think a lot of teams have mixed reviews on these players. They're okay, but maybe not excited. And I don't know. It's hard to figure out, where do you draft a quarterback where you are okay with them but not excited? It's a tough question. I lean that 3 quarterbacks going round 1. Now, a couple days ago, the betting odds on over 2.5 quarterbacks in round 1 was like minus 500. Now it's like minus 180. So I'm not sure. I do not think the Browns at 2 or Giants at 3 are taking quarterbacks. There's trade calls. They're not for quarterbacks. I think the earliest a quarterback 2 could go is the Saints at 9. Is that Jaxson Dart? Is that Shedeur Sanders? I don't know. After that, the Steelers at 21 or the Giants or Browns trading back into round 1 are interesting. The only 4 teams with real odds to take Shedeur Sanders where that's offered as a book bet are the Saints, the Giants, the Browns, and the Steelers. So I think the thinking, either the Steelers at 21, the Saints at 9, or trading back or up from the second, or the Giants or Browns trading up from the second as well. Could be interesting. Now, for me, the one player I'd look kind of to sell is there's nothing you can really do with the other teams, right? The Browns, I mean, maybe you can scrape something for Joe Flacco. Derek Carr is hurt. Can't sell him. And the Steelers have nothing. But Russell Wilson does still have a bit of value. I saw in the Dynasty Daddy trade database a couple of 26-second trades for Russell Wilson. I would easily take the second. I have no interest in Russell Wilson. These quarterbacks in Superflex, once they get into this old range, I usually just move on, let someone else deal with this. You're never going to miss out on a high-value asset that way. So I would just like to move on from Russell Wilson while I still can, because the value is only going to go down. I can tell you it's not going to go up. So he would be a sell for me. Now, if you like my YouTube content, you should sign up for the Patreon. I'm offering a 50% discount off your first month at all tiers using code TylerYT. You can click on the link in the top right corner, patreon.com/fantasy advice to sign up. You can get my Dynasty and rookie ranks, all my rookie content, access to the Discord, all my write-ups, did a lot of rookies on there, direct message fantasy advice, and the ability to ask in advance questions for the YouTube videos. I'm going to be swamped during rookie season. I'm not going to be available for questions on Twitter. I'm not going to be available for questions in the YouTube comments. I'm only going to be available for questions for patrons. Now, tiers begin at just $5 a month, $250 with the discount. If you want to know more about the Patreon, check out my why you should join the Patreon videos on the channel. I just did one, literally just did one on Sunday. I laid out everything I was offering. And once again, as much as it sucks that this is necessary, every time I do one of those videos, people do actually sign up. So we're going to have to keep doing those videos. We're going to have to keep doing these promos because it is working. If I don't tell people about the Patreon consistently, people do not sign up. So, I do apologize. Not really apologize, but I know that people can get annoyed by these types of advertisements. But as I said on the video, I'll say again, the Patreon supports the existence of the YouTube channel. If you like the YouTube and want it to continue long-term, please sign up for the Patreon. With that said, I'll move into my next topic. So my next topic is covering Ashton Jeanty. And I'm just saying, this is my first actual video where rookies were the topic. The first one. So it's a little bit of kind of like, you're waking up now. I mean, some people in my audience, they might be waking up now. We're just looking at rookies now. Oh, who is Ashton Jeanty? Well, Ashton Jeanty is the best running back in this class, one of the best rookie running back prospects of all time. And there's a lot of momentum for him to go very high in the NFL draft. A lot of people were saying he would go to the Raiders at 6 overall. Now I'm hearing that the Jaguars at 5 are another option. It's pretty much even money between Jaguars and Raiders. Going to be one of those 2 spots, I think. There's an outside chance that someone like the Bears trades up to 5 for Ashton Jeanty, but Ashton Jeanty is not getting past the Raiders at 6. It's a question of, is he drafted by the Raiders at 6, or does someone or the Jaguars go ahead of 6? Now, why are teams so excited for this player? Well, they should be, because in 14 games, this is not a typo, 374 carries, 2,601 yards. Yes, that is a real number, not a typo. 29 touchdowns, again, a real number. 7 yards a carry. Yes, he really did have 7 yards a carry on 374 carries and 23 catches, 138 yards and a touchdown. Now, he's perfect. Perfect prospect. There's really no problem. He bounces off tackles like nothing else. He had more yards after contact than I believe every other running back in FBS. So this is more yards after contact than they had total yards. You can watch the film, even, am I a film expert? No, but I can tell from watching him that this is not normal. Players you cannot tackle him. And, he released that letter saying, why not draft a player you can't tackle? Sounds good to me. The only thing people might say from looking at this line is, well, the pass catching is a little low, but he did actually have much more involvement as a pass catcher in 2023. So he has done it, even if he was not used that way in 2024. He has done it. So I like seeing that on his overall profile, which is just an added plus. Not that he needs an added plus, but there is one. Now, we're looking at the Raiders. We're looking at the Jaguars. For me, there's no one on the Raiders to sell, so you can't do anything there. But on the Jaguars, there is. And some might say, sell Travis Etienne. That's actually not the direction I'd be taking. It's Tank Bigsby. Why? Couple reasons. One, if the Jaguars really pull the trigger and take Ashton Jeanty, Travis Etienne is going to be traded away, most likely, because he's more expensive on the final year of his deal. He might get a better opportunity, kind of like DeAndre Swift got traded out of the Lions and then had that year on the Eagles. That was actually pretty good. But Tank Bigsby is not going anywhere. He's on a cheap rookie deal. So Bigsby was fine. 168 carries, 766 yards, 7 touchdowns, 4.6 yards a carry, 7 catches, 54 yards. He's a better runner than Travis Etienne. But the problem is that in this backfield, the type of player who might take a few touches from Ashton Jeanty would be a pass catcher to take a little bit of the workload. So you only use him on 80% of downs instead of, 95. And Bigsby is not the type of player. Ashton Jeanty's good at the goal line. He's good in short yardage. You don't need Tank Bigsby for anything. So, and he fumbles. So he would just be a backup. He'd be a backup and nothing more. So he would lose more value. And Etienne, the sell window for him might be when he is traded. So that for me is why Tank Bigsby would be the one to sell today, more so than Etienne. Now, my last topic. The Colts will likely take a tight end in round 1. I think everyone has mocked this pretty much. But don't freak out about the landing spot. I get it. No one wants their player tied to Anthony Richardson. But we have learned that essentially landing spot for pass catchers, either tight ends or wide receivers, is irrelevant. If we faded Brock Bowers because of landing on the Raiders last year, that was a mistake, despite the fact that the Raiders had no real quarterback, lots of competition, none of it mattered, right? If the player is good, the landing spot won't matter. So Richardson will either improve or be replaced. Daniel Jones is on a 1-year deal. So I'm not freaking out about this spot. I'd be fine drafting Tyler Warren or Colston Loveland in this landing spot if it causes their value to drop. In fact, I have actually said that Warren and Loveland are overrated. They're probably going to go too high for my liking. If they go to this landing spot, maybe they won't. Maybe they'll go lower, and then maybe I will be in on them. So it's all a value game, right? Both players have some things going for them. Tyler Warren was great in 2024. He was great, and I was so excited about his carries. I wrote carries twice. 104 catches, 1,233 yards, 8 touchdowns, 77.1 yards per game. And something interesting, the 26 carries for 218 yards and 4 touchdowns. He did get some running usage, a little bit of that Eric Ebron stuff that we saw in the past many years ago. Ironically, I believe that was also on the Colts. Warren's an elite producer. He can overcome a bad situation. And similarly, I'd like his value to fall. It is important to note that Warren didn't really produce in the rest of his college career, so he has some red flags. As for Colston Loveland, a nice final year. 56 catches, 582 yards, 5 touchdowns in 10 games, 58.1 yards a game. It's good. Very good. 2023 season was better than Warren's 2023. And Loveland's an early declare. Again, very solid prospect. Is he an elite tight end prospect? No. But, he's not as good as Brock Bowers was last year. But a very solid first-round prospect. Now, what do? There's nothing to do now. I will say, Josh Downs is a player, a very good young wide receiver. I'm not going to dismiss him because of a poor situation, similar to the tight ends, or competition from an incoming tight end. It's not even a wide receiver. Downs, last year, 72 catches, 803 yards, 5 touchdowns, 107 targets, 5.1 catches, and 57.4 yards a game. He was the Colts' clear wide receiver 1, turns 24 in August, and he did this despite Richardson being horrific and both Alec Pierce and Michael Pittman having 800 yards each or more. Downs is not going to go away because a tight end is drafted. These guys are not Brock Bowers. So I'm still going to like Josh Downs, and he would definitely be a buy for me if the Colts draft a tight end and it causes Downs' value to drop. So I've got a bunch of Patreon questions, and then we'll wrap up the show. So follow up to an earlier question from a previous video. How do you find a trade where you're losing in value but would still accept? Never. Or the opposite, winning value still decline? Oh, the winning value still decline is common, I guess, in that, like, if I'm competing and it's halfway through the season and you're sending me a winning value trade for competing pieces that I need and my team is 7-0, I might decline it. That's when that comes up. The other way around, pretty much never. That I don't do. How much more valuable are running backs and less valuable wide receivers in following formats? To basically starting 3 wide receivers versus 2, a tiny bit. It's so minuscule that it doesn't matter. So minuscule. You're talking about, you can still start the same number of wide receivers, but you have to start 3. So minimal. It's so minimal. It's very, very little difference, honestly. Nothing worth discussing. If Washington doesn't draft tight end this year, well, spoilers, they won't, because they re-signed Ertz and extended John Bates. And I have no confidence in Ben Sinon. 0 whatsoever. None. So, yeah, it's my confidence in Ben Sinon. It's pretty low. What are the top landing spots for the quarterbacks outside the top 2 of Cam Ward, who's going to the tight ends, or Shedeur Sanders? Well, Shedeur Sanders, we don't know where he's going. Really, like I said earlier, the team's looking for quarterback outside the tight ends who have that already. The Browns, the Giants, the Steelers, and the Saints. The Giants have the best wide receiver of the group. They have Malik Neighbors. That's something that the other teams cannot boast. The Steelers probably have, the best coaching staff in some ways. The Saints, that one is probably the worst. And then the Browns, if Sanders goes to the Browns with Travis Hunter there, I think that will help. But yeah, it's not like there's one landing spot that's great or super exciting. And I don't really care too much about landing spot for a quarterback. I care much more about draft capital. Best sources to gauge market value in putting together a trade. I just don't use these. I don't use these when I'm putting together my own trades. I just don't. I just send a bunch of trades that I'm happy with and try to get ones through that way. Volume offers. For videos, I use Dynasty Daddy to look at real trades that were done in leagues. But otherwise, I just don't use these. They're all bad, is my honest answer. What are some players that the consensus seems to think are at risk of being replaced in the NFL draft that you think are relatively safe? Well, none of the running backs. But yeah, I do think there's maybe a little bit overstated how replaced some of the wide receivers could be. There's just not that many wide receivers in this draft that are replacing other players that are that good. So that would kind of be what I would say. But honestly, I don't know. I think the running backs are less safe than consensus is saying, if I'm being honest. Now, if you like the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notifications bell so you can be notified about all my exciting content as it drops, including my live show, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Thursday for the NFL draft. If you want my best fantasy football advice, it's available on the Patreon, Dynasty and rookie content year-round. 50% discount at all tiers using code TylerYT. You can click on the link in the top right corner. Sign up, and every sign-up helps support my independent fantasy football content. Once again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you all later.